Our next speaker represents the future of solution building. Tanya Adlakha is a young founder, a national level debater, and a passionate advocate for community driven change. She's passionate about building technology and community driven, socially responsible solutions, and her core work promotes awareness and innovation around Indian culture, climate action, and sustainable entrepreneurship through India. Miss Adlakha volunteers as a teacher with a child's right NGO, empowering underprivileged children through education and advocacy. Today, she will be speaking on the topic climate and health.
Thank you so much for your kind introduction, Dr. Mehek. Good evening, everyone. I hope you all are having a great time at this summit. I'm Tanya, the founder of a community platform which arose from a fear of losing what I've grown with, our stories, our art forms, our recipes, our remedies, our traditions. And this fear has led to the TotoAfrika, a space to share, as the name suggests, the core of India. Our cute rituals, tradition, art forms, mouth-watering recipes, ancient natural remedies, and so much more. So that's about me and the TotoAfrika. Now, my agenda will be, I'll be quickly introducing why climate is equal to health. And then we'll look forward to health impacts we are facing today. Then we will look into who suffers the most, the inequality of this crisis, and then the economic cost of ignoring climate and health. And last but not least, solutions that can save millions of lives and some success stories. So let's get started. So there are a couple of reasons why climate is equal to health. Because the climate shapes every biological system we depend on. Human health is not separate from the environment, it is embedded in it. The air we breathe, the water we drink, the food we grow, the stability of our shelter all depend on a stable climate. Right? Because climate hazards translate directly into health hazards. Climate change doesn't just warm the planet, it increases the heat stress, the air pollution, the infectious disease spread, malnutrition, mental health crisis, and so much more. Third, because human bodies have limit. We are developed in a certain format. Our physiology is built for a narrow climate comfort zone. Extreme heat overwhelms the heart, lungs, and kidneys. Fourth, because health systems are breaking already under climate pressure, which we have been observing. Vector-borne diseases reach new regions. Hospitals become overcrowded during heat waves. Fifth, because climate inequality equals to health inequality. The poorest communities, outdoor workers, farmers, children, and the elderly face the worst impacts despite contributing the least. I repeat, the least to this emission. This is such a climate injustice, which produce again health injustice, making this a moral and humanitarian crisis. Sixth, because protecting the climate protects lives. Cleaner air reduces respiratory and cardiovascular deaths. Renewable energy prevents millions of pollution-linked illnesses. Climate resilience cities reduce disaster mortality. And investing in climate action is fundamentally investing in public health. So next, we discuss health impacts we are facing today. I'll quickly go through this. So extreme heat is now the deadliest weather-related hazard globally, driving rising cases of heat stroke, cardiac stress, and heat-linked mortality. Air pollution, as we all know, causes millions of premature deaths each year, mainly through heart and lung disease. And infectious diseases, so warming temperatures and changing rainfall patterns are expanding mosquito habitats, which is increasing the spread of dengue, malaria, Zika, and other vector-borne diseases into new regions. Food and nutrition. Climate change is reducing crop yield and nutrient content, which is worsening malnutrition and micronutrient deficiency, especially among children. Then water scarcity and safety. Mental health, climate disasters, and uncertainty are driving significant increases in anxiety, depression, PTSD, and suicide. Because, as I mentioned previously, human bodies are built in a certain format, and physical health is directly correlated to mental health. So, that's that. Extreme weather events, intensifying floods, storms, cyclones, and wildfire cause direct injuries, respiratory harm, deaths, and disrupt essential healthcare services. Inequalities, which burden fall disproportionately on children, elderly, low income community, and outdoor workers. So let's quickly discuss who suffers the most, the inequality of this crisis. As I kept mentioning in the previous slides, elderly, because they have reduced heat tolerance, chronic illnesses, and limited mobility, leading to higher mortality rate during heat waves and disasters. Then low income and marginalized communities who suffer from the greatest exposure because they have to work in polluted air, unsafe water on the ground level, despite contributing the least to the emissions. Farmers and outdoor workers, as I mentioned in the previous one, these also have to work on ground and they have to face all of this directly, the extreme heat, crop losses, and economic instability. Again, increasing risk of heat illness, injury, and mental health crisis. Indigenous and rural communities, they are also heavily affected because they are directly depending on natural resources, limited healthcare assets, and cultural displacement caused by environmental degradation. Next is fragile health system and developing countries. Especially countries with weaker infrastructure face higher disease burden, disaster mortality, and reduced adaptive capacity. Women and pregnant individuals, they also experience a greater exposure to domestic air pollution, water scarcity burdens, and pregnancy related vulnerabilities, leading to increased risk of complications and malnutrition. The economic cost of ignoring climate and health. First is rising healthcare expenditure. So, climate driven diseases, illness, malnutrition, and air pollution related conditions are directly increasing the healthcare cost by billions annually, straining already fragile systems. This was in a report by WHO, Lancet. Productivity losses and labor decline. So, of course, because people are significantly dying, so human resources declining as well. Extreme heat reduces labor capacity, especially in agriculture and construction, because these people, as I mentioned previously, are getting affected the most, and these are the ones losing their lives the most due to the heat strokes and all. Damage to infrastructure and services. Climate disaster destroys hospital, power grids, water system, etc. Food system disruptions, droughts, heat waves, and crop failure increases. Food prices reduce export because demand is not equal to supply. So this leads to an inequality and imbalance in the providing of resources, and this worsens food insecurity, placing economic pressure on household and national budget. Then we have increased insurance and disaster relief burden. So these, whenever any of that natural disaster happens, they are driving rocketing insurance claims and forcing governments to allocate higher spending on emergency response and recovery. Loss of human capital. Inequality driven economic instability, as I mentioned previously, people who are least contributing to this, who are having low income, who are working on the ground, are getting the most affected. And last but not least, missed economic opportunities, which is causing us a lot of economic uh, money. Failure to invest in climate and health adaptation results in loss of opportunities and clean energy, green jobs, infrastructure, and all. Now, let's quickly discuss the solutions that can save millions of lives. Transition to clean energy, as we all have heard once, at least once in a life, transition to clean energy, which is nothing but shifting from fossil fuels to renewable energy, which can dramatically cut on air pollution. Next is climate resilient cities and infrastructures. Greener cities, cool roofs. I have a very good example on cool roofs. We'll be discussing that soon. Improved ventilation and heat ready infrastructure, lower urban temperatures, reduce heat deaths, and improve overall quality of life. Next is early warning and surveillance systems. Heatwave alerts, disease surveillance, and climate forecasting help governments respond faster, reducing mortality from extreme weather and outbreaks. Strengthening climate smart health systems. Hospitals designed to withstand flood, heat, and power disruption ensure uninterrupted care and reduce disaster related mortality. Protecting food and nutrition security. Climate smart agriculture, drought resistant crops, and improved storage systems safeguard nutrition for vulnerable communities. Securing water and sanitation, global policy action and finance, and last but not least, community education and behavior exchange. Okay, let's discuss some of the success story, proof that the previously mentioned solutions exactly work. So I'll be discussing three case studies. One is of India, one is of China, and the last one is of Netherlands. India's heat action plan. So what happened in 2010 was a severe heat wave in Ahmedabad caused over 1,000 deaths, prompting the city to develop India's first ever heat action plan. So these were the key initiatives that were there in the heat action plan. Heat wards were established into the hospitals to treat heat related illnesses. Early warning systems were implemented with the municipal corporation collaborating community leaders and radio hosts to reach vulnerable populations as well. Cool roof, as I mentioned it previously, were installed on over 15,000 slum homes and 100 government buildings using heat reflective paint, which reduced indoor temperature by 5 degrees. The city also developed mod roof, an affordable alternative to cool roofs made from coconut husk and paper waste. Additional measures using mist sprinkle at traffic signal and butter distribution initiatives also took place. As a result of these efforts, the number of heat related deaths significantly decreased, and it was so successful that the NDMA adopted it as a blueprint for 100 other cities in India. Now we'll discuss China's air pollution reforms. So, as we all have heard, China's air quality index used to be so bad; it was around 1,000 or something uh, in 2013, and now we all have seen what's the condition now. So, how did it reduce the PM 2.5 concentration by 40% in under a decade? Let's look at the solutions. So, first is they launched a broad air pollution prevention and control action plan, treating air quality as top national priority. It sets strict target for reducing PM 2.5 and linked results to political accountability. Second, cutting on coal use. Third, reduced vehicle pollution and promoted electrical vehicles and modern emission standards for new cars. Fourth, retiring polluting industries. So they shut down of old high polluting factories and steel plants, stricter pollution control devices on boilers and industrial emissions. Fifth, energy shift to clean resources like solar and wind power generation and provided incentives for the same. Last but not least, after implementing all this, we have to maintain also. So they implemented stronger laws and enforcement. Environmental taxes were there and stricter emission standards were set. Fines and incentives to reduce pollution discharge also took place. So my last example is of Netherlands, and I've found this wonderful video. I want you all to see this. Can you please play this? Thank
Ever
you.
seen a highway underwater? This is the Veluwemeer Aqueduct in the Netherlands. A genius solution to keep cars and boats moving without interruptions. Instead of building bridges that boats can't pass or movable ones that disrupt traffic, the Dutch flip the script. Cars go below the water. It's like a reverse bridge. From windmills to massive dams, they've been battling water for centuries. Fun fact, Netherlands means lowlands, and 25% of the country is below sea level. They've turned water management into an art form. Their biggest flex, the Afsluitdijk, a 20-mile dam that turned the sea into a freshwater lake, and they're not stopping. Rising sea levels mean they're constantly innovating.
These are the quick references if anyone wants to read on any of the research papers that I researched through. And yeah, let's make this world a better place to live in. Thank you so much. Feel free to ask any questions if any of you have.
All right, Tanya, can I ask you a very quick question?
Sure, yes, please.
Yes. So, Tanya, you are championing community solutions for climate action in such a well put presentation. Enjoyed every bit of it. So, just to put it in very layman terms and just to take it to the younger school generation, and if we want to like put it across them to the young generation that we have in school, I mean, obviously they're not here, but we all have at least kids at home or in the neighborhood that, we can talk to them about it. So, what do you think is the single most easiest thing that people in their daily lives can do today to make a difference for both environment as well as their own health? So, like, what is the
Reducing
one
waste.
thing that we can start doing today? Like, maybe from tomorrow morning we wake up and we like, remember our conversation today and we incorporate that into our lives.
Thank you for the question. It is reducing waste. All of us can do it. I always notice. So 3-4 years back, I started making these eco bricks. Do you guys know what eco bricks are?
No,
Those are
no. Would you like to
very
shed
simple
some light
things.
on that, please?
Sure. Eco bricks are like, so for example, you take a plastic bottle and you fill in your plastic wrappers and whatever you're eating, confectionaries and all, you fill it in till the level it becomes like a brick. And then you can use, so I used to make sculptures on that. And this was my previous business idea. So it was so useful. I think people don't know about it and it is so simple to do. Another thing is I have seen kids wasting so much food. They feel like my mom will scold me if I don't eat, or my dad will scold. But what they don't realize is they can feed that to someone who is in need of it.
Absolutely.
Like there's this drastic imbalance between people who are having surplus of it and people who are not having any of it. So I think that gap, if children start to see that gap from a very early age, I think they can do wonders later in life. And I think it will build a habit naturally for them to save resources also.
Absolutely. Teaching them young, catching them young is that's how we're going to make a difference because it's easy to teach them right at this age, make them champions for a better future. And it's so lovely to see young people like you, taking this cause forward with so much of passion. Thank you so much. We enjoyed your presentation. It was very thought provoking. Shall
Thank you
we?
so much.
Yeah, you're most welcome. Thank you so much for coming here, please.